Tonight is Rosh Chodesh Shevat, so it's a good time to revisit the topic of Yala v'Yavo, the special insertion we have on in our Shemona Esrei, as well as in our benching of Inyoni Diyom, as the pasuk says, Baruch Hashem Yom Yom. What do you mean? You should thank God Yom Yom. So the Gemara in Brachas makes a drasha that there's a special mitzvah, or in davening or in benching, to mention the Indian. So on Shabbos, Yantiv, on Yantiv you mention Yantiv, on Rosh Chodesh you mention Yalo v'Yavo. So we'll discuss some Inyoni Yalo v'Yavo, and specifically the issue of one who forgets, one who omits Yalo v'Yavo. What is the halacha in terms of being chosed? You have to go back and repeat the Shemona Esrei or repeat the benching. So let's start with evening service, Ma'ariv, Aravis. So tonight, if one is davening Shemona Esrei and they forgot to say Yala v'Yavo, what is the halacha? Do you have to go back a night? So the Gemara tells us, Ein Mekadesh and it's a Chodesh Balayla. The Gemara tells us Basin doesn't mean at night, and therefore, if one forgets to say Yala v'Yavo, one doesn't have to go back. The whole discussion of what exactly is the connection between the two, the fact that Basin doesn't mean at night, but that's not for tonight. But either way, the halacha is, if you get to say Yala v'Yavo, you must repeat it. You don't have to repeat Shemona Esrei. Keep on going. In fact, that's the famous Tosas in Brachas. And Daf Chavav Amud Aleph, the question is, if the Tosas asks, why does the Gemara have to come on to Ein Mekadesh and the Chodesh Balayla? They say very simple. If you forget Yala v'Yavo Amayim, you know why you don't have to go back? Because Tfilas Aravis Rishus. Because Aravis is optional. Hence, Tosas concludes that when we say Tfilas Aravis Rishus, Rishus doesn't mean optional here, but it means lower level obligation. Because it was, why would you have to go back? So either way, the Gemara concludes, and everyone agrees, if you forget to say Yala v'Yavo at night, you don't go back. Let me point out, that's only on Rosh Chodesh. If you forget it on Yantiv, that's a different halacha. But on Rosh Chodesh, if you forget Yala v'Yavo at night, you don't have to go back. Pashtus, what if you forget it for Shacharis and Mincha? So the simple reading is, it seems to say that one would have to go back. If you forget Yala v'Yavo tomorrow morning at Shacharis, or you forget Yala v'Yavo tomorrow at Mincha, then one has to go back and repeat the Shemona Esrei. That seems to be the pshuto. At night you don't go back, during the day you do. So the question is, why do you have to? So let's say Shacharis and Mincha. We'll use Mincha, as you'll see shortly. Shacharis might not be so simple, you have to go back. So I always use Mincha as the example. So let's say you forget to say Yala v'Yavo at Mincha, so the halacha is you have to go back. The question is, why do you have to go back? Is it pshat that in other words, how do we view a Shemona Esrei without Yala v'Yavo? Is it pshat that I'm Yotzei Tefillah, I fulfill my mitzvah of davening, except I'm lacking in the Chiyuv Haskara, the special Chiyuv of Baruch Hashem Yom Yom? I should have to mention Ke'in HaMa'or, I have to mention the special mention of the day. That's why I have to go back. And since Chazal told us I can't just say Yala v'Yavo in a vacuum, I have to do it in the context of Shemona Esrei. Therefore, that's why. So it's a pshat. I'm Yotzei Tefillah. I'm going back because I have to repeat Yala v'Yavo, and I can't do Yala v'Yavo in a vacuum since I have to repeat. Oh no! If I forget Yala v'Yavo, it's like I didn't daven at all. It's like I didn't daven Mincha, and this, of course, if I didn't daven Mincha, so of course I have to daven again. My nafkamina. What's the practical difference? Whether I say you go back for Yala v'Yavo because of the Chiyuv Haskara, or because of you didn't daven at all. Either way, I have to go. Either way, I have to repeat Shmona Esrei to my nafkamina. So perhaps we can mention a couple. There's a famous Tosfos on Chavav Amud Beis in Brachas, the top of the page. A famous kasha Tosfos wants to know. Another Rishonim. So it's one day Rosh Chodesh, I believe. So Rosh Chodesh is started tonight and it's over tomorrow night. So Mincha is our last tefillah on Rosh Chodesh. So what is the halacha if you daven Mincha tomorrow night? You leave out Yala v'Yavo. So if you remember right away or before sunset, then go ahead and repeat Shmona Esrei. But let's say you daven Mincha, you left out Yala v'Yavo, and wasn't until 7 o'clock at Ma'ariv you realize, wait a second, I forgot to say Yala v'Yavo at Mincha. So the question is, do you have a Chiyav Tashlumin? Now let me just explain Tashlumin for me. The halacha is, by davening, you have a halacha of Tashlumin, of makeup. That the person, if you miss a davening, that is b'shogeg and not b'mezid. If you unintentionally miss the davening, or you're an onus, that's a discussion, an onus also, you have to repeat Shmona Esrei. So the halacha is, well, the discussion in the Rishonim, how long do I have? Is there a statute of limitations? You mean, I forgot, I didn't daven last week. Can I make it up today? That's a discussion in the Rishonim, how far you go. Halacha l'maisa, we paskin, you have until the next tefillah. So if you forget Mincha, you only have until Ma'ariv. And Gemara even says, even though Mincha and Ma'ariv are 2 different days, nevertheless, the Gemara says we still have the halacha of Tashlumin. So if you forget Mincha, you can make it up a Ma'ariv, Shacharis, a Mincha. But that's it. If I miss Shacharis and then I remember at Ma'ariv, it's too late. I can't make it up anymore. So if there's a Chiyav Tashlumin, you have to make it up the next tefillah. So the question is, so of course, if I didn't daven, let's say tomorrow afternoon, if I didn't daven Mincha at all, and now it's Ma'ariv, so there's no discussion. Of course, I have to daven 2 Shmona Esreis. But and what would the Shmona Esrei be? The second Shmona Esrei is the Tashlumin for Mincha, which is Rosh Chodesh. Would I mention Yala v'Yavo in the second Shmona Esrei? So the answer is no. The halacha of Tashlumin is you make up what you're davening now. It's not what you missed, it's what you're davening now. So for instance, if I missed Friday afternoon, I daven 2 Friday night Shmona Esreis. And similarly, if I didn't daven Mincha Shabbos, I daven 2 Ma'ariv Kol. So you always go by what you're doing now. So if you forgot Mincha, everyone agrees you have to daven 2 regular Shmona Esreis. No Yala v'Yava, because Ava Yom Bata Karbono, it's too late. Rosh Chodesh is over. So the Shaila is, so what about in this case? I daven Mincha, and I left out Yala v'Yavo. So now it's Ma'ariv. So do I daven a second Shmona Esrei? So it's a major machlokas Rishonim. Because Rabbeinu Yehuda writes, Rabbeinu Yehuda the Bali Tosfos writes, he says, what's the point? Mincha you davened, the only thing you're missing is the Chiyav Haskara. You can't do that anyway, so what's the gain of davening again? You're not going to accomplish anything. So he says that's it. So if you forgot Mincha period, then you would repeat, you would do Tashlum. If you daven Mincha and you left out Yala v'Yavo, you don't remember until nighttime, that's it. There's no makeup, there's nothing to gain. You're ready daven Mincha, you're just lacking the Chiyav Haskara, and now you can't do anymore. Another Rishonim say no. The Rif and others said no, you daven a second Shmona Esrei without Yala v'Yavo. What's in the Kudas HaMachlokes between Rabbeinu Yehuda and the Rif? It's this issue. It's how do you view a Shmona Esrei without Yala v'Yavo? Is it I'm yotzei my mitzvah of tefillah, but I'm lacking the Chiyav Haskara? Well, no. It's like I didn't daven at all. Rabbeinu Yehuda is clearly working with the first shita. you yotze tefillah, I'm just lacking the Chiyuv Askara, so what's the point? I can't do the Chiyuv Askara anymore, so there's no point, no gain in me doing a second Shemona Esrei. And the Rif clearly says, it's like you didn't daven at all. It's the same halacha, just like the halacha is if I didn't daven mincha, everyone agrees I have to repeat Shemona Esrei. So davening mincha without Yalav Yav is like not davening mincha pi halacha, and therefore you have to daven to Shemona Esrei. So this machlokes Rishonim seems to be dependent on our chakira, on what's the pshat. It's a nafkamina. Why do we have to go back? Do we go back for the Chiyuv Askara? If that's the case, then that's Rabbi Yudi. You would have to repeat a second Shemona Esrei. If we go back because we didn't fulfill our mitzvah of tefillah, so then we would have to daven again. So how do we pass in halacha l'maisa? Do we pass in like Rabbeinu Yehuda or the Rif? So it seems to be a sveika dedina lahalacha, and the poskim say you should make the following tanai. In other words, you should daven a second Shemona Esrei, but you should have in mind and say, if the halacha is like Rabbeinu Yehuda, that I really don't have to daven, so then let this be a tefillah nedava. It's a free will offering. It's an extra tefillah. As Rabbi Yochanan writes, Halavai is fellow koyot. It's always appropriate to daven all day long, so you can do a tefillah nedava. And if the halacha is like the Rif, so then I'm davening because I have to. It's a chiyuv tashlumin. So that's what the post says. So the bottom line is, you would repeat a second Shemona Esrei, but you'd have with the following stipulation. If the halacha is like Rabbeinu Yehuda, it's a tefillah nedava, and if the halacha is like the Rif, it's a tashlumin. And even though we normally don't permit the tefillah nedava anymore, since we don't even have kavanah on the basics, we don't try to add extra ones. So therefore, here since it's a sveika dedina, that's enough. You can do a tefillah nedava to be yotzi yidei chavaso. So that's the first nafkamina on whether you yotze tefillah but you're lacking in the chiyuv haskara, or it's like, you're not yotze tefillah at all. Another interesting nafkamina comes up in the following case. There's a famous Magen Avraham. The Magen Avraham writes a big chiddush. The Magen Avraham writes, and many disagree, but the Magen Avraham writes that, let's say you forgot Yalav Yavo in the morning, and then, okay, that's it, you didn't remember, then you daven Musaf and say, wait a second, I forgot to say Yalav Yavo at Shacharis. So the Magen Avraham writes a tremendous chiddush of salvation. We even have a bigger chiddush, but the Magen Avraham has a big chiddush. You know what? You don't have to go back then. If you remembered after you already davened Musaf, then you don't have to go back and repeat Shacharis. So many Achronim jump on the Magen Avraham like, what is it, a no-soap radio? Like, what are you talking? What does Musaf have to do with Shacharis? Like, the fact, so what I daven Musaf? You mean, would he say that if I daven Musaf and then, let's say I just went straight to, I came in late and I daven Musaf, I don't have to daven Shacharis anymore? Like, what in the world is the Magen Avraham talking about? That if you daven Musaf, then you no longer have to repeat Shemona Esrei. So clearly, which sheet is the Magen Avraham working with? He's clearly working with Shitas Rabbeinu Yehuda. That Magen Avraham is working that one who davens Shemona Esrei and leaves out Yala v'Yavo, he fulfills his mitzvah of tefillah. So the Magen Abraham's chiddush is that for the chiyuv haskara, it's enough to do it samach davening. So it's true it's not in shach, but musaf, again the assumption is you're davening musaf, surely thereafter after Kriyas HaTorah, and therefore the chiyuv haskara in musaf covers you for the shacharis. And therefore that's the chiddush of the Magen Avraham, that if you remember after you daven musaf, you no longer have to go back. Others Achronim disagree and say, so clearly the other Achronim who disagree with the Magen Avraham are clearly working with the Rif Shita, that a Shemona Esrei without Yala v'Yavo is a zero, is a nothing. And therefore, obviously if you didn't daven Shacharis at all, no one in the right mind would say Musaf would take the place of Shacharis. So clearly this Machlokas, Magen Avraham and others is dependent on this issue. How do we view a Shemona Esrei without Yalav Yavo? In fact, Rav Soloveitchik takes it a step further. So what did we say the Chiddush of the Magen Avraham was? According to the Magen Avraham, if you remember right after you daven Shacharish, you should repeat Shemona Esrei with Yalav Yavo. But if you remembered after Musaf, then you don't keep on going. So Rav Soloveitchik wants to take the Magen Avraham a step further. He wants to say, even if you remember before Musaf, don't go back. So let's say you remembered right after you daven Shachar, you remembered, he said, don't go back. What's the pshat? He's arguing on the Magen Avraham. So number one, he's only arguing on a lechatchila basis, meaning even the Magen Avraham would agree, maybe he'd say you shouldn't do it, but once you daven Musaf, the Magen Avraham agrees you yotze. So b'di'evad, everyone, not everyone, but within the shita, within the shita of the Magen Avraham, everyone agrees that once you daven Musaf, it's a go. So it's a machlokas lechatchila between the Rav and let's say the Magen Avraham or others is whether lechatchila you should rely on Musaf. The Magen Avraham says no. Rav Soloveitchik says yes. What's in the Kudis HaMachlokas, or at least what's found in the Rav? Why does he say that you should don't go back even afterwards? Because so he has a very cogent argument. He points out that really the halacha is that if you don't have kavanah for bracha rishona, you have to go back. And then that's the whole Gemara, it's a whole steer in the Rambam, famous Rav Chaim, about one place the Rambam writes that you need kavanah for only bracha rishona, meaning b'di'evid. Another place he seems to say you need kavanah for the whole tefillah. So that's a step of Rav Chaim on it. Not for now. But so they point out that we know you need kavanah for tefillah. So if that's the case, we're in trouble. That means we're always constantly repeating Shemona Esrei. In fact, even the Ramah writes, Bisman Hazeh, it doesn't pay to go back, or else you'll be davening all day. Because what's the point of repeating a Shemona Esrei? You're not going to have kavanah anyway, so therefore why bother? That's why there are certain gedolim who maybe feel they have the kavanah, maybe they could go back. But Yikar Adin, you probably should go back, but Ramah's been describing the reality. It's not going to help us, so don't waste your time. So, if that was true during the Ramah's time, it's certainly true during our time. I mean, I'm making a kavachov. I'm assuming there was more kavanah than maybe there wasn't. I don't know. But if it's true during the Ramah's time, I know it's true during our time because I'm involved. I daven every day. So therefore, Rav Soloveitchik says, the Rav says, since according to the Magen Avraham, you yotze with Musaf, so even lechatchila don't daven. But what's the point? You're going to go repeat Shemona Esrei without kavanah and have all these brachos of atolas, right? Just rely. That's lechatchila now. Maybe even though it's hard to say the time of Magen Avraham because the Ramah wrote during his time. Maybe during the Magen Avraham time they had more kavanah. But I'm not sure whatever the pshat in the Magen Avraham is. It's only a din in a. He's talking about b'di'evid. The Rav takes the b'di'evid in the Magen Avraham and says lechatchila today rely on it. So in fact, that's what I rely on. Like, so when people come to me, and they ask me, they come to me after they, let's say they had daven shah, let's say when it's Hala, they realize, oh yeah, Rosh Chodesh, I didn't say Yalav Yavo. Or they hear the Chazan repeating, they come back, I forgot to say Yalav Yavo. Should I go back? So my response to them is, I can't talk now, but come back to me after Musaf, and I'll answer you. So then when they come back to me after Musaf, I say, yeah, you don't have to go back anymore. So basically I take the psak of the Rav, I don't actually just tell them, I like to mix the Magen Avraham with the Rav. But the bottom line is, the Rav seems very cogent. It makes the most sense because B'di Evid, everyone agrees with Yotzei, so I agree. I mean, why daven? Why repeat all these? Obviously the classical post can probably say to repeat, but the Rav, like the Rav's svara, it makes the most sense to me, and therefore I just tell people wait till Musaf, and then I tell them not to go back. So I'm really relying on everyone. I'm using the Rav to wait to tell them to come back to me, and then after Musaf anyway, I tell them not to go back. So that's another nafkamina is if you daven shacharit and you left out Yalav Yava, does Musaf work? So according to the Magen Avraham it's only works if you're working with Rabbeinu Yehuda. If you're working and you aren't Yotzei Tefillah, the question doesn't come off. Doesn't get. And in fact, let me just point out. So therefore, that's why I like to say mincha is the one that's the big problem. Because so Ma'ariv, if you don't go back, Shacharis, you don't make your adin, you go back, but you really don't have to go back because you have Musaf to save you. Mincha is the real problem because. So then, that's why I like using mincha as the example. If you get Yalav Yavo mincha, you have to repeat. Of course, let me point out, and the Magen Avraham doesn't spell this out, but I'm assuming this is I'm saying the Pshat, maybe it does say, I don't remember who saying, I'm just saying this on my own, this is assuming, the Magen Avraham is assuming you're going to daven Musaf right after Shacharis, which most people do. But really, Musaf Kol Hayom. So, let's say for every reason, so if you're not going to daven Musaf right after Shacharis, then Shacharis becomes the problem. I'm only going to tell them not to repeat. That's why I tell them come to me after Musaf. If they're not going to daven Musaf, then even the Magen Avraham will agree that you have to daven the Shemona Esrei. So my point being is, if you're going to daven Musaf in the afternoon, I guess right after Mincha. What do you mean Musaf? I thought Musaf comes before Mincha. So actually that's a discussion in the Gemara. Let's say a person didn't daven Musaf, and now you're going to be davening Mincha Musaf, so it's a discussion in the Gemara. Do you say, Tadeh V'Shein Tadeh Tadeh Kodem? Actually we paskin that if you didn't daven Mincha Musaf, you should daven Mincha first. That's the halacha. You do Mincha before Musaf. However, if you're doing it b'tzibur, so you do Musaf first, now Mincha, you don't want to, you work with the KISS principle, you don't want to confuse the Olam, like what? We daven Mincha, now we're davening Musaf, like they'll say, like, well, let's go see, I'm davening Musaf, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and remember last month, I davened Musaf after Mincha. So, who knows, maybe now I could daven Mincha, whatever the person's going to get confused over. The point being is, the B'tzibur, we keep it simple, but Me'ikar Adin, so if you're going to daven Musaf after Mincha, so then I'm saying then that halacha would apply to Mincha, not Shacharis. It's only to the one that's to be davening Musaf, or else it won't help. Because I don't think it's a din in Musaf for Shacharis, I think it's the din is, the assumption is you're going to be davening Musaf right after Shacharis, but if you're going to daven Musaf after Mincha, then Mincha you're in luck, but Shacharis would be the problem. I guess you wait and see, so I guess if you remembered Yalav Yavo at Shacharis, then it's wait to daven Musaf after Mincha to have a backup plan. No, but that's so. Either way, that's what you do. You go ahead and you do Shacharis, Musaf and then Mincha. That's the Magen Avraham and the Chiddush of the Rav, that he takes the Magen Avraham and makes it even l'chatchila. Another shayla related to this is the Gemara tells us in the end of the 4th parak in Brachos that let's say you forget to say Yalav Yavo, and not just Yalav Yavo, you forget different things that you have to repeat Shemona Esrei. Let's say it's Mashiach Baruch. Some of the Chiyuv Haskara. So the question is, let's say Shacharis, Mincha, you forgot to say Yalav Yavo. So the Gemara, the Rishonim explain, really you could be Yotzei with the with the way the Baal Hilchos Gedolos Tosfos quotes is, if you think even the Gemara, the way some Rishonim learn is, if you forget Yalav Yavo in Shmona Esrei or Masha Baruch as well, you can rely on the Shliach Tzibor. So that, I think it says if you're a bit Tzibor, then you can listen to the Chazaras Hashatz. If you daven by yourself, you have to repeat. That's what the Baal Hilchos Gedolos writes. I think it's in Chavzai at the end of at the last stuff in the fourth parak in Brachas. So the Tosfos says, what are you talking about? The Gemara tells us at the end of Rosh Hashanah, let's say I don't feel like davening. I'm not in the mood to daven. I'm just going to listen to the Chazan. So I can't do that. The Chazaras Hashatz was instituted for the Eino Baki. So one who knows how to daven, they have to daven on their own. But one who doesn't know how to daven, so then they can rely on the Chazaras Hashatz. They can rely on the Shliach Tzibor. So the Gemara says it was instituted for the Eino Baki. So the kasha is, how could the Hilchos Gedolos say that if you forgot to say Yalav Yavo or Masha Baruch, you can rely on the Shliach Tzibor? Obviously, if you daven Shmona Esrei the first time, you must be a Baki, not an Eino Baki. So how could you rely on the Shliach Tzibor to fulfill your mitzvah? It's against the Gemara in Rosh Hashanah. The kasha? So the answer is, obviously, the Bahag is obviously working with our Yisod, the Magen Avram and the Rabbeinu Yehuda. So when do we say that you can't rely on the Chazaras Hashatz? That's when you're being Yotzei Tefillah. That's what the Gemara is talking about. If I haven't fulfilled my mitzvah of Tefillah, then it's a no-go. But here, clearly the Baal Hilchos Gedolos is saying is, you already fulfilled your mitzvah of Tefillah. You're just lacking the Chi of Haskara, and since you can't do a Chi of Haskara in a vacuum, you got to be Yotzei in Shmona Esrei, so therefore you can listen to the Chazan. So the Hilchos Gedolos is working with Rabbeinu Yehuda. The poskim Bizman Hazeh point out, best not to rely on the Shliach Tzibor, even though Mikra then you can, because either there's too much noise in shul, you have to hear every word, you can't concentrate that long. So they recommend this davening over on your own, but Mikra Adin, you could be Yotzei with the Shliach Tzibor. So we see that the Baal Hilchos Gedolos is working with the Shittas of Rabbeinu Yehuda as well. And that's just, so we had a Chakira, we said, why do you have to go back? If you forget Yalav Yavo and Shmona Esrei, you have to go back. Is it because you're not Yotzei Tefillah? It's like you didn't daven, and no, I daven, I'm just lacking the Chi of Haskara, and I can't do it in a vacuum. I have to make it up in Shmona Esrei. My nafkamina. Nafkamina number one was, let's say you forget Yalav, you daven Mincha tomorrow, you leave out Yalav Yavo, and Rosh Chodesh is over. Do I have to daven over again? So if I'm Yotzei Tefillah, no, what's the point? If I'm not Yotzei Tefillah, then of course yes, and it's a Sveik at the Din how we paskin, so we daven twice, but we make that tonight. Or if the halacha is like the Rabbeinu Yehuda, it's Tzvilas Nadava. If it's like the Rif, it's a Chiyuv, and none of the Afkamin will be like the Magen Avram. If I forgot to say Yalav Yavo and Shacharis, and then I daven Musaf, does that help my cause? So according to Rabbeinu Yehuda, yes, you're just lacking the Chi of Haskara. So Musaf is all about Haskara, and therefore it's a go. But if I like the Rif, what is davening? What is that? It's like if I didn't daven Shacharis, Musaf doesn't help. Same thing. And also the Hilchos Gedolos, the third thing, that the only way you could say you could be Yotzei by listening to the Chazan is only if you assume you Yotzei the mitzvah of Tefillah already, because the Gemara only instituted if ain't no Baki and you're a Baki. And this one last point the Rav made regarding Birkas Hamazon. So let's say the same Chakir he has by Birkas Hamazon, what's the Pshat? When you forget Yalav Yavo when benching, is it like I didn't bench at all? Or I'm Yotzei benching but I'm lacking the Chi of Haskara? And since I'm lacking the Chi of Haskara, I have to repeat. Let me just point out that Rosh Chodesh you don't have to. Rosh Chodesh, if you forget Ya'aleh V'Yavo and benching, you do not go back. Because there's a simple klal. You have to know the facts, but the klal, the principle is simple. When you have to go back and repeat, let's say, benching, if you forget Ritzei Ya'aleh V'Yavo, the yisod is, if I have to eat bread this meal, if I have a chi of Suda, then I have to go back. If I don't have a chi of Suda, so on Shabbos and Yom Tov, if I have a chi of Suda, I have to go back. Interesting, Shalosh Shudas is a discussion. There are some, we pass, if you get Ya'aleh V'Yavo at Shalosh Shudas, you don't have to go back. Don't we have to have 3 meals? That'll be a separate share when we get to the Shabbos series. But you do have to, but since there are those sheets that say you could be Yotzei with other things, so therefore we paskin that you don't have to repeat Ya'aleh V'Yavo at Shalosh Shudas, even though you should have a Suda with Shalosh Shudas as well. So Rosh Chodesh you don't go back because there's no chi of Suda. So therefore I can't use Rosh Chodesh as an example. Let's assume Yantiv. Yantiv I benched and I left out Ya'aleh V'Yavo. So I have to repeat benching now. I have a chi of Suda. So the Rav had the following question. What happens, do you have to, assuming you had a Zeman, do I have to repeat the Zeman now? Let's say you're eating with 3 people. It's Yantif, it's likely you're having with other people. You all 3 benched, and all 3 you left out Ya'aleh V'Yavo. Now so you all have to bench over. Do you have to repeat Zeman now that you're going to bench over? It depends on this Chakira. What's the pshat? If I was already Yotzei benching, then what do you mean? So I already did the Zeman. But if a benching without Ya'aleh V'Yavo is a nothing, then obviously I have to start from scratch. I think we paskin that you would not have to go back. You already Yotzei your mitzvah benching, you're just lacking the chi of Askara, and therefore you'd go back and repeat benching without the Zeman. But the same Chakira by benching, in the different, and whether that would be the nafkamina, whether I have to, if I have 3 of us who are benching and we all forgot whether it's Ritzei, Ya'aleh V'Yavo, whether I have to repeat Zeman or not. If I'm Yotzei benching, no. If I wasn't Yotzei anything, then yes. So these are some of the issues. We'll have to continue at another date, maybe the next Rosh Chodesh. These are some of the halachas of Ya'aleh V'Yavo, to keep in mind. Of course, hopefully we don't have to know these halachas, meaning hopefully we won't forget Ya'aleh V'Yavo in our davening, and benching won't be an issue, even though at least l'chadchila, hopefully it won't be an issue, and and we won't have to go back. But if one makes a mistake, then one should know at least what the appropriate method is, whether to make up whether to repeat the Shemona Esrei or the benching.